The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Hello and welcome back to the Potty Plotters Plotcast podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 40, and I'm Julia. Who are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I should give you a round of applause.
Well, but the fact that she's got it right.
Yeah, well, we're up to number 40 and that.
Well, we're actually, no.
Right,
no, we're actually, if you add them all together, this is number
There's
92.
loads. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but she struggles with that season, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
It's
and now it's the
autumn.
end of this one.
She's waited till the last one to get it right.
Yeah, well,
It's almost like it was planned.
yeah.
Well, anyway, you're you and I'm me. I'm
Who are you?
Elaine. Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
you're Elaine, yeah.
Yeah. And we've got Gareth over there and he's got a speaking part still.
Yeah, he has. And just in case anyone's listening and wants to know, you're the tall one, aren't you? And I'm the
that
short
is
one.
funny, yeah. So we
Oh,
do a
is
little
this-
bit on radio,
yeah.
and one of the producers the other end wanted to know which was which. So my reply was, well, I'm the tall one. We left it at that.
So, yeah, you are the tall one. In fact, how tall are you, Elaine?
I'm 6'2". I could have said I'm the one with the green coat on.
It would have had exactly the same impact on radio.
Yeah, exactly, because we are outside. Autumn it is,
Isn't it?
drizzling, and it's a bit grim out there.
But
there's
it's
loads to be
November, isn't
done.
it? It's
Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
And, it's... I mean, we're recording this, 3 days before bonfire night, where it's
Yeah.
always horrible weather.
Yeah, it is usually.
And it's not that cold either
It's
today.
mild,
It's
yeah.
very mild
Compared
for this
to
time of
last
year.
year,
Yeah.
definitely, and we're not underwater yet.
Don't say that.
I know.
Don't tempt fate.
Yes,
Don't
no.
say that. So, yes, Gareth's got a speaking part.
Yeah, Gareth.
But, of course, if you want to contact us, we will respond to things, but we won't be able to answer them in the podcast until next season.
This is true. So this is the last one of this season. So all sad. But, hey, we will be back in February. We're just going to take a bit of a break because, let's be honest, there's not much happening between the beginning of November.
There is,
There
but
is.
not that we're going to be talking
No, but
about
we can't-
it necessarily.
no, I mean,
to
there's
the whole
Christmas.
world.
There's
Yeah.
Christmas.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sprouts, oh,
Yeah.
lovely,
Yeah, you can talk about your sprouts till the sprouts come home.
Yeah.
There's New Year. And then in February, there's New Us. Bit of a spruce up.
Yeah, it's a bit like the plots, really, because we're
Yeah,
sprucing
we
them
are.
up at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah,
and,
dead busy up there.
Yeah, and we have an open day next year. They're already confirmed on our site. In fact, it's quite funny that the committee contacted us to book us, didn't they? Which is quite funny because we're on the
Like
site.
an entertainment turn.
Yes.
Like the Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah, similar but different.
So yeah, we're sprucing up. We're
Yeah.
getting the paint out and having a right old tidy clear out, aren't we?
We're having a big clear out very shortly. In fact, we booked it in, haven't we?
You'll skip.
We did contemplate it. If there's enough rubbish, yes. But you see, as true allotmenteers, Gareth, anything that we
recycle.
want to, anything that we want to get rid of, somebody else will want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So plot two.
Yeah.
So we just put it on his plot.
So in the meantime,
Yeah.
for the next 3 months, if you would like to get in touch with any questions, if there's burning issues, then go to a doctor. But if they can wait for the podcast, great. If they can't, we will still reply. But you can get us on Facebook and Instagram at Potty Plotters. You can email us naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk and check out the website, pottyplotters.uk, and we will get back to you. But if you would like it to be included in the podcast, let us know and we'll hold it over.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Now then. Right, well, it's you first.
It is me,
Can you hear that motorbike?
Yeah, I was going to go. I wonder what that was.
Yeah,
It's
because
a-
I'm even, you're odd, remember?
Yeah.
And this is episode 40, so that's an
what-
even number.
Are we sure that was a motorcycle, not something backfiring?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Or just
me.
firing?
So, since I'm in charge of this one,
You go for it.
yeah.
That's a first. It's taken us that long.
we've both put on the list of things to talk about the loofah. Now, Elaine, what happened to the loofah?
Right, well, if you remember last week, I said I would take the loofah home.
That's the one that I confused with being a cucumber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it hadn't gone brown.
No, and it looks just like, as I always say, a cucumber.
Yeah, it looked like a really big cucumber you get in the shops. Yeah, one of those like the ones they badge as large, not the standard
No,
ones. It's the
no,
ones
it
that are
was
like
whopping.
it was
It was,
whopping. You could have
yeah.
taken somebody out with that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So
Can you
I
now
took
take somebody out
home.
with it?
No, well, I'm going to tell you what happened. So I thought, right, logic comes into this. I need to dry it out. So when the oven's on, or actually I was putting the oven on very, very low for a few hours I did it for twice actually. Yeah. And it did start to turn dark brown. Because
But
that's what happens.
I can see a but.
when you leave. That's what happens when you leave them on the vine. So if we've had a really hot, prolonged summer, the cucumbers, you got me the loofahs. Yeah. But they look just like cucumbers.
loofah?
The loofahs go dark brown to like an almost black, and they get a hard shell on the outside.
A bit like an eggshell.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, our season in that ended very prematurely because we had a frost and it killed the plant, didn't it? So we had to take them off green.
Yeah. So anyway, they went in the oven a couple of times. And we're a little bit squishy, I would say. They changed colour a little bit. Anyway, you know all this IT malarkey that I say I'm not very good at? Well, I think my Google thing has been listening to me. The next thing was, I got this bloke talking to me all about how to dry a loofah. It's not right, is it? But honestly,
Google, how do you dry a loofah?
Honestly, I hadn't done any of that on it. It just came up on my IT thing. Anyway, so he was from America. And so I thought, oh, now this is interesting. So he was talking about his that hadn't dried. And I thought, oh, right, OK. Now then, in between times, I wrapped mine in a kitchen towel and put it in a dark cupboard because I thought, oh, that might work now. Well, anyway, it's only been a week, but it seems a very long week because having watched
a week is a long time in a loofah.
So he was rolling it like a rolling pin on a table, and then he just like cut it open, and there was the loofah inside. I thought, and then you dry that. I thought, right, okay, then we'll do that. Took it out the cupboard. It's going mouldy. Ooh. I know. Luckily, I'd got all this kitchen towel wrapped round it. So I thought, all right, okay. So anyway, I rolled it and thought, dear, this isn't quite right, I don't think. Anyway, I could actually put my finger through it.
It's very squishy cucumber. We've all had one of those at the bottom of the drawer.
So what you're saying is, Elaine, it didn't work,
No, it was all that mush.
Oh,
now then, Julia, it's all right taking the mickey out of me, isn't it? But I told you what had happened. Yes. But then I think you had a little dabble at it.
Well, yes, I did, because having given you the one to dry in your oven, I'd still got quite a few left that I'd left in the conservatory at home, hoping they would dry. And of course, I'm noticing that one or two of them are starting to go rotten on the end. So, having been advised by you about the American YouTuber that you'd washed, I decided...
Washed? I washed him?
No, you used the loofah to wash yourself with afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Watched, not washed.
No.
You'd watched him on the YouTube. Having taken advice from you, last night I got one of the loofahs that was still okay, and I actually decided to roll it like a rolling pin and then peel it. Well, it was just like a mushy courgette inside. So that was a bit of a disaster for both of us. So we can say that neither of those methods worked particularly well for us. So if you've tried it with a green loofah and you found something that works in being able to get it out, please tell us, because
no one's getting any loofahs for Christmas this year, are they?
Well, I've got another whopper. That's the problem.
You robbed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did rob it. And I think the thing is, I'm going to just see if I can dry it naturally. There must be a
airing
method.
cupboard.
I haven't got one.
No, most people don't now. Most people don't now, do they?
No, not when you've got combi boilers and.
Well, some people have got a few weeks to think about what we could have done with it, haven't they? So, if not, my ideal will be chop it open and get the seeds out of it.
Ooh.
For next season.
Yeah, do you think that'll be any good?
Yeah, well, I've done them before.
Well, I thought your YouTubing man said that you can't use the ones that have been dried in the oven because they won't work.
He said that, but let's face it, Julia, he was wrong on what he said. So, actually, I don't know why we're sitting here doing podcasts. We could be doing YouTube thingies and saying whatever you like. Oh, that's what we do, isn't it, Gary?
Okay.
Anyway, that's your loofah update.
Well, that's all right, because I've bought us some new loofah seeds, and I will be starting even earlier this year, just in case.
Let's do it, yeah. So right at the very beginning, it's a very good place to start. I think
I tend to start at the start.
I think first thing, Julia, let's get in there with loofahs in February.
Yeah, they need the
longest.
Will they survive, though?
Yeah, if you nurture them at home.
Yeah.
They're dead easy to grow.
You've been nurturing me for the last 4 years.
Yeah,
so.
we'll nurture them.
Changed, have you?
No, we'll nurture them at home in the conservatories and then bring them down when we're safe of past all frost on the allotment. I think.
Get them going.
Yeah, well, it could be that long. It'll take over the conservatory, but never mind. We'll have loofahs for next year, Elaine.
We blooming will.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Potty Plotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
Pruning trees and bushes, and I put it on because, of course, this is the last one of the season. And so, of course, over the winter is the time that we should be getting out there and pruning apples, pears, and I'm also looking at doing the black currant bushes, but I am going to leave the red currants and the blueberries until spring.
Okay.
Until it kind of, just before we think the last frosts are coming on, while the plant is still dormant.
Yeah.
But I will be looking at doing it early in spring, so that. But over the winter months, I'll be getting the ladder out and doing the trees.
And what about frost then? Because does frost affect, if it is that you cut off a branch or twigs and that, does the frost actually affect them?
No, it shouldn't affect them. I mean, what is worse, you shouldn't be doing it when it's really wet and damp and horrible, because that will potentially create fungusy problems. But actually, on a nice frosty day, it's perfect. A nice cold day, get out there and prune them. The plants have gone to sleep. They're having a rest period. So, no, they're quite happy.
So you're going to wake them up then?
No, I'm going to chop the legs off. I'm going to chop them off. And one thing particularly that I want to look at is the black currants, because they need a bit of a reshaping. They need a bit of thinning out. So that's what I'll be doing. Do you know how to do them?
Well, I was going to say, don't you take the twigs from the inside, not the outside?
So what I'll be looking at on the black currants is
older ones.
The black currants fruit on the younger
new stems.
Yeah, the new stems. So what I'll be looking at doing first of all is dead, damaged, disease. They are always the first things that you look at when you're doing any pruning.
Ironically, DDD.
And then what I'll be looking at is anything that's pointing too much into the centre of the bush, because I need an open kind of goblet shape that I'm looking to create. So I'll be removing anything that kind of bends towards the middle or is coming out too much at the middle. And then I'm looking at round the base of the plant anything that's kind of very low hanging, because that will just drag on the floor.
Oh,
if
okay,
it's,
yeah.
So that will come out, and then I'll stand back and have a look, and I'll be looking at taking at most about a third of the oldest branches. So anything over about 3 years.
Yeah.
And you can tell the older of the branch because of the colour of them. Yeah.
And they go to like a woody brown colour, don't they, in comparison to the new. Yeah. And you can tell by looking at them.
Yeah. So,
if we can do it, Julia, anybody can. It's a ladybird.
Oh, that's all right. I don't mind a ladybird.
It's not the mouse that we had last
time.
time.
It's not the mouse. No, you wouldn't have made that. Oh, could you?
We tried. Because nobody else saw it but you.
Oh, it was definitely there.
Yeah.
It got a bit lost, I think.
We were
Maybe he was trying to get away from the cats.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm just going back to trees.
Yeah.
Now then, are they called spurs? When you cut a tree, when you cut the branches off, say, an apple tree, then they start to shoot upwards, don't they, with new spurs. What should
branches.
we do with them?
Right, so again, you look at the whole pruning process, as I've just mentioned, with the black currant. And then what I do with them is remove about a third of the new growth that you're looking at. Yeah. And when you're pruning an apple tree, you need to be aware of and a pear tree actually, whether it's a spur-bearing fruit or a tip-bearing fruit, because they are pruned different. So some trees...
I knew you'd pick up on that.
Tip.
Oh,
yeah. So
tip. Sorry, I appear to have lost that part of my hearing because it cut off.
A tip bearing. So most of the apple trees I think we've got on site that I work with are spur bearing. So that means that they will fruit from one of the spurs that are coming off the branch, whereas some apple trees and pear trees actually fruit on the very end of the tip of the the branch, so they actually fruit there, so you need to be careful about how you're pruning those.
How can you tell the difference?
It helps if you've noted in the previous year where the
but if you've not,
where it's fruiting,
then you've got a bit of a problem in there.
I know I have.
Well, then what's the other most important thing that we say is keep labels. So actually you should know what you've bought.
What mine are, yeah.
And if you know what you've bought, then there's that old fashioned thing called Google.
All that.
And you can type it.
It's amazing
for an American bloke.
It's amazing how now we are referring to Google as that old-fashioned thing.
Yeah, that old-fashioned thing. Actually, no, what I do is I refer to my books if I can, but if you know the variety of the apple and pear that you're growing, it should tell you whether it is a spur-bearing or a tip-bearing fruit.
Okay.
That's tip.
Yes. So that's what I'll be doing over the winter. I'll also be getting out my winter wash as well to clean the trees down. Now stop laughing, because I am genuinely washing my trees over the winter.
Yeah. You need a job, don't you?
Yeah,
You're washing your trees. What are you going to wash them with?
I'm washing them with winter wash. So
it is a thing called winter wash.
It is a winter wash, and it will get rid of any kind of bugs that are overwintering in your trees that you don't want there.
Fabric conditioner with that?
Yeah, get a big sponge out. No, I actually use
Spin cycle.
No, you put them in one of the sprayers and you just give it a spray.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and you know we were talking earlier about the allotment fairy.
Yes, we were.
Well, the allotment fairy's actually been on your plot a few times and sprayed your trees.
Have you?
That's nice, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to chop mine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, not down.
No,
just
no.
going to chop them. You thought I was going to
give
say
them
down.
a prune.
Then,
No, don't get rid of them.
No.
And that is a big frustration of mine, actually, that a lot of people take on a plot and the first thing they'll do is, really hack at the trees at the wrong time of year. And also people will dig out fruit trees and fruit bushes, and things take a while to get established. So don't be in a hurry to actually do that, because sometimes it's just a case of it needs a prune, and just prune it at the right time.
Hints and tips for shortcuts to success. The Potty Plotters Plotcast.
You've been busy on your plot, haven't you?
Yeah, I need to be a bit busier, that's the thing. So I've been clearing stuff, Julia, that's
Have
all.
you? This morning you said you were looking at it.
Well, I did, yeah. And then Trevor came along and we looked a little bit more together. And then we actually decided we weren't going to look anymore. We were just going to have a cuppa. And that was the end of my looking.
So
I could recommend it,
What, looking?
Looking. Looking.
It's a bit like a hobby, isn't it?
Good. Oh, it could be a hobby.
So you've been looking.
I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll put in at this point, because we're going to be away for a few months.
Yeah.
We'll do a video shortly of you two looking at the plot.
Oh, yeah.
Not looking. Yeah.
Looking and thinking. That's
Do a
what
lot of
pensive.
thinking, yeah.
Oh, no.
No ideas.
Excited. That's what I am. So you've been looking in anticipation of clearing, haven't you?
Yeah.
And why are you clearing your plot? Why don't you just leave everything, Elaine?
Well, for the tubers, for the the
dahlias,
they're
yeah.
the
Been
things.
listening.
Yeah, so there's a couple of those that I've taken out, and I'm drying those, so I can take those and dry them properly.
How are they doing in the cat litter?
Marvellous, Gareth. I've had my hands in the cat litter. I know, but it was all clean.
It was clean,
It
yeah.
was.
I wouldn't have given you anything
there's
other
no
than...
clumps.
No, I would have
nothing.
done.
Yeah, we know you would. But everything is dry. But then they are in a big plastic box in cat litter in the back bedroom where it's cooler. So they should survive.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
What does
It's
your other
podcast.
half think when you do these, in inverted commas, experiments, and you have the back bedroom with boxes of cat litter and dahlia tubers in?
Well,
Does he
you
not go in
see,
there?
It's funny, Gareth, you see, because it's almost Christmas as well. So what I've done is I've bought a load of Christmas presents already, and I've actually put them all the way around the cat basket, I was going to say, but around that box. And so he's not actually seen them yet.
That's a top tip, isn't it?
That's
That's another one of your marital saving tips, isn't it?
I'm good at them. When we go out and do talks, I do things and tell people things that will save your marriage, and that's one.
Yeah.
just hide it.
Yeah.
You won't know. So what he doesn't know doesn't harm. That's the first
True.
thing. And then after Christmas, what I'll do is I'll make out that Julia asked me to save them for her.
Oh, yeah,
And,
I
Yeah,
forgot
because
about
it was
that.
my cat letter, wasn't it? So,
I forgot about that
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So what else have you been clearing? What else are you doing? Have you got anything growing on your plot? Or?
Yeah, I've still got parsnips on there. There's beetroot, and I'm going to take them out.
Okay, why?
Not the parsnips, but I'm going
Right.
to take the beetroot out definitely. And because Julia, I don't want a mess. That's the first thing. But secondly, slugs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to harbour them. They've got to go, unfortunately. And
We say
then-
unfortunately.
well,
Of all the pests on your plot,
yeah, they are a big one.
they'd be the ones I'd want to get shot off
Yeah.
the most
Yeah.
because the cat still lives with us.
Yeah.
She thinks she does anyway. And her bowl was in the greenhouse.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was a slug in it.
No, let's not go there. So, what night was it? Thursday night, probably. The other half goes and gets the bowl to give her some food, and there's a slug on the underside of it.
Yeah, they do.
They're
anywhere like
They're
that.
pains.
Yeah.
They, of all the things, it's like bees do something really, really useful,
Yeah.
but wasps and flies go away.
Yeah.
And I can't find any redeeming feature at all with a slug.
Oh, you need to contact the RHS. They love them.
Yeah, they do.
They
but
do, but I mean, they're
there's
food for hedgehogs,
Yeah.
aren't they?
but I don't want a hedgehog in my garden
No.
either.
No.
And I pop them in the composter. I have to, other than the ones I've chopped.
I throw them
off,
over the
obviously.
wall.
But well, and I pop them in the composter, and they do help kind of break down.
Yeah, they
things in the
do.
composter,
Yeah, they
so
eat it and
that's
chew
fine.
it.
But I don't want them on the newly planted plants that
No.
I've got. So
And I don't want them staying over winter either. So
No,
if
it's
you
not a
remove
hotel.
all of that,
Yeah.
no, and it's not an Airbnb.
You're not
either.
running a hotel here.
No, they've got to
No.
go.
You're running a plot.
Yes, get
Yeah.
out. So what I want to do is to make it all clean, smart and tidy, ready for next year. And actually, I have got some plants that have gone a bit mad, like my cultivated blackberries.
Okay.
They've all got to get tied in and so on. So
Right.
there's a lot to be done, but to get everything off the floor.
right.
And there's some weeding to be done, believe it or not.
Oh, never.
Honest.
And where will you be putting all the things that you have fetched off your plot then? So while you've been clearing it, what have you done with
Yeah,
all
I
of
bag
that?
mine up and take it home and put it in the brown bin.
Right.
so that
and
it's
that's the bin that the
recycled.
council take and
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
turn it into compost.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah.
they can have all
Yeah.
of that. There's some bits of wood as well, which I don't want, and that can be burned, and then I'll keep the ash. But other than that, everything. I've got tomatoes still. So I haven't even taken my tomato plants down.
So we're recording this in Potty Plotter HQ because
Yeah.
although
Yeah.
we've said it's mild, it's still quite chilly
It's damp
and it's
out there,
damp
yeah.
out there, and we have electronic equipment that I'm protective of, like my babies.
Yeah.
So I can look out straight into Julia's polytunnel and I can still see tomatoes.
Yeah. Yes, there's loads of tomatoes. And actually, one thing that's been fantastic in there and really got going again are the snapdragons.
They look
Yeah,
amazing.
they do.
Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
brilliant in there.
Yeah.
So
That's a lesson for next
we've
year.
had a
as well,
lesson
isn't
in
it?
that. Yeah. So
So that's what I've been doing. Are you clearing yours? You've been doing yours.
Oh,
haven't you?
I have.
You've had help though.
I've not.
You did last Tuesday. You said you had help.
Oh, well,
It's no good now sitting back and saying, "Oh well, yeah." The answer was
Conveniently forgotten.
Yes,
Yeah, well,
yes,
the lads
yes,
on site,
yes.
they helped me get all of the sunflowers out that I'd planted at the front, and they took them away and got rid of them for me. So that was very nice because they're quite hard to compost down because I've not got a shredder or anything. So most of the things I do compost, but things that I think have got diseases or problems with them, I then bag them up or burn them. And I have been working my way through the
That
plot.
work for people as well as plants. Bag them up and burn them if they've got diseases.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Extreme, isn't it? But yeah, I've been working my way down the plot. So the
Yeah.
end that we kind of are more sociable in at this end, I've been working my way down because I've found that is actually motivating me more because I'm seeing every time I come what I've achieved. So next time I can just get further and further away. So that's a bit of a tip
But
for
if
you,
it is
really.
that people have got weeds on their
Yeah.
allotment, because they are still growing
Yeah.
because the weather's so blooming
Yeah.
mild, what would you recommend people do?
Well, what I would recommend
Weed
is
wand.
a weed.
Oh,
yeah. I've had the wee one out as well. But what I would recommend, actually, the soil's really nice for digging in places.
Yeah.
So if you can, and you know that there's perennial weeds, so the ones that will come back year in, year out, very long roots generally. If you can, dig them out now while you can do it. And anything that's kind of got seed heads or flowers on, I just put in the brown bin, or like you, take it away with me. But anything else can go in the composter, you know, that's absolutely fine. But yes, it is a good opportunity to hoe, get things out if you can, and hoe them off on the top. But I would take them away because, of course, normally we hoe things and leave them on the top to dry out in the sun, but it won't do that in the sun now. So that's what I've been doing. Oh, have you been putting any muck on as well?
I've bought some.
Bought
some farmyard bagged manure.
Yeah, we both have, haven't we?
Yeah, and I'm going to put it on top of when I've done my dahlias. I'm going to put it on top of there. I'm not putting it on the top of other areas.
Right.
Just there, because I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to put layers of cardboard in over the winter or not, and what I'm going to do.
Okay.
So that's my thought. But what I want to do, Julia, is dig all the areas that can be dug, and then I'm ready. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
There are parakeets flying around outside. I just thought I'd let you know if anybody's interested.
It's like we're in like a really far-flung place, but no, we're in the middle of Derby.
Funny old world, isn't it?
Anyone who's listening might think, well, why aren't they using Bill the Muckman's muck if they bought some in? Why aren't we this year?
Well, we've had a bit of not a problem, but a
he's not talking to you.
situation. Yeah, no, he does talk to us.
Yeah.
But what happened is that we've had the last lot of manure delivered to us, and we've put it in the muck bay, and it's not broken down. And why is that?
I think it's because we've just had very inconsistent weather. We've not had it really hot. I mean, you know, the weather forecasters, I'm sure Rob Rose will say, oh, it's been the warmest summer in...
No, he'll say probably.
Probably.
Quite possibly and probably. It was the warmest summer since probably the last one.
Yeah, and, you know... But it's not. We had 1 or 2 days when it was really hot, and then we had the rest of the time where it dropped another 10 degrees, and we had that for weeks on end.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just not rotted the horse muck down as we wanted to.
And it does create us more problems, doesn't it, if it is that we put it on when it's not broken down. So we'll end up with loads of weeds that we don't want, and then they're weeds that we probably haven't had before. So we've decided that we'd just get a few bags and just cover so that the dahlias can be cut and get on with the work. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The Plotcast podcast with the Potty Plotters.
You're oohing at, Julia.
I can hear music in the background. Have we got Tom Jones again across the road?
I hear your boots squeaking, but that's
again.
another story, isn't it?
Anyway, Elaine, green allotments. Have you applied for one? Have you applied for
I haven't, no. But if anybody wants to learn how to get their own allotment site and be part of the organisation that manages it, then why not get in touch with Green Allotments?
So if you want to find out more, we spoke to Green Allotments on episode 30 of this season. So if you head back and listen over, all the details will be there, how to apply, what the criteria are, and the closing date, which is the end of November.
Yeah.
So you haven't got long, you've only got a few weeks, but get your applications in.
I think it's a dead exciting opportunity to
I
find
think-
some land, to have experts help you set it all up and guide you along the way
and all
and
the
manage
legalities sorted.
And I think we should go along and interfere with it next season.
Ooh, yeah, let's go and find which allotment sites they've got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went in your shed.
Oh, yeah.
Were you invited?
No.
I tell her where things are. She'll text me and say, where's this? I say, it's in my shed.
And then very quickly it's not.
That's right.
No. So in your shed, you got all things hanging from the roof, or flowers hanging from the ceiling. What's that all about?
Yeah. Well, last year, if you remember, we grew a load of straw flowers. Now, straw flowers are those dried flowers that you used to have in dried flower arrangements in the 1980s and 90s. And now then, what I did was I picked them when they were in full flower.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And they are bright pink, white, with centres that are yellow. And I hung them upside down. And I did lavender as well.
Yeah.
And I thought, isn't it funny, why do you have to hang them upside down? Well, I'll tell you why, because they retain their colour and they look blooming lovely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them, and I'm going to move them because the air is now damp.
Yeah.
If you leave things like that in your shed, I'll guarantee, even though my shed is dry in there, they'll go mouldy.
Oh.
And that would be a waste, wouldn't it?
I'm fascinated
So
that
where are
they
you
kept the
taking them
colour.
then?
Oh, they are, pardon?
Where are you taking them then?
I shall take them home and put them into
Of
little
course you will.
vases.
Of course
And
you
then
will.
hide them.
And then
I
hide
will
them.
put them in vases. I will, yeah.
Where are you
because
hiding
they
these?
are rather nice. Although I have done a really nice arrangement with
Oh.
some. I know, yeah. Even people have mentioned it. But yeah, that was quite a clever trick.
It's on the
I'll
village
tell you about
newsletter.
it next-
Oh. Are you going to send us a picture of it?
What, of my arrangement?
Yes.
Yeah, I can do.
Lovely.
Yeah, all right then.
Thank you
can
very
have that. But the main thing that I wanted to tell you is the irony is that, you know, these alliums, you've got allium heads here,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Yeah.
They don't go mouldy. So why is that?
Maybe because they're quite open, aren't they? So they've got plenty of airflow through them. Airflow is very important, you know.
Are you
Elaine.
just making it up like that bloke in America on Google?
No, I'm not. Look.
I think if you mention,
gap here.
he's obviously rattled you.
Yeah.
So I think you need to get in touch with him, and we'll have him on next season.
Oh, that would be funny, wouldn't it? So it's all right for you in America.
With your fancy techniques, but over here,
Rolling a loofah.
over here, when we shove it in an oven,
Yeah, see if I can, yeah. Wonder if I can find him. If I said all these kind of words again near my computer, he just comes back up again.
It just reminded me, you know, you were talking about. You were talking, and then it obviously, it obviously,
she was.
and then it came up with this man on YouTube and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Well, the other night I was at home and I was watching.
I think we need to be really careful here, don't we?
And I was
This could go
watching.
in one in many ways.
I was watching something we both love, which is Gogglebox.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't work out, because it's happened to me twice now, that our Siri thing starts talking to me. And you know that posh couple, I can't remember where
Giles
they are.
and Mary.
Giles and Mary, when they talk, and she'll say, Siri, phone Ofcom. Well, every time she says that, it makes ours come on
Yeah.
and talk to me.
It does.
It does.
It does. You have to be really careful in broadcasting not to say the
Those
key
words.
words,
Yeah.
because it can interfere with people's smart speakers,
Yeah.
which is why.
Wow.
And do you know what, Elaine? It was really funny because it happened when I was home alone because the husband had gone away, and it was Halloween.
Oh yeah.
And
You're making this up, aren't you?
And I said, "Are you playing with technology at home while you're away? Because this woman's talking to me."
We do that. But when I say we, my phone, no matter where I am, can talk to the speakers in the house. So every so often, the other half might be cleaning and playing music through the speakers, and it comes up on my phone. So I start changing the song that's playing. That's evil.
That is. You see, people think they're going mad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's why I do it.
I thought the house was haunted. There you go.
It's a relatively new house you live in, so unless it's on a gravesite.
Well, who knows?
Anyway, back to what we were talking.
Back to the quiz.
Back to what we were
Back
talking
to
about.
us.
So, dried flowers then.
Yeah, so I'll be doing that then. So I'll do your little arrangement and then you'll be able to see. And my question is, how do they retain the colour? Because they're vibrant, honestly.
Don't know, but
Why don't you ask your little Google speaker thing?
Yeah,
Hey
Because
Google.
that man might-
Hey Google, how do my dried flowers retain their colour?
yeah. And also, why do we need to hang them upside down? I think it's to keep them straight. I think,
it has done.
I think that would be the problem if you didn't. I
Yeah.
think it's gravity making them straight.
Yeah. I hope that they don't drop to bits when I move them, though.
No, that'll make a terrible mess in your house,
that
won't it?
be good.
When you've had new carpets.
Yeah, when they ever come.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Potty Plotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
Well, Gareth, if you look over my shoulder,
I have been looking over your shoulder because I'm quite jealous because
They do look beautiful.
it does, doesn't it? So, as you know, over the course of this season, we've been having chard in a pot, which is we've got
Potted chard.
potted chard. It's like potted no, it's not. And the 2 out of the I think it's 4 plants that are in there the heads have gone to seed on them. So I've moved the I've moved the pot into the greenhouse so it's not sort of so exposed, but obviously it's still, because there's space in the greenhouse because I got rid of everything the other week.
Yeah.
But looking over your right shoulder, you've got it in the ground and it's still vibrant, and I'm going to go and pick that in a minute. So there's red and yellow
And
chard.
white.
I can't see the white.
Oh, is
I
that
see
white at the end, or is that
That's
yellow?
yellow.
Slightly lighter yellow, yeah.
So your chard's still vibrant.
Yeah, it's
Looks
doing
great.
fantastically well in the ground. So help yourself to some, because it is a perennial and it will keep on going. Last year I did lose it, and I think that was because of all the wet on site, really. But they should actually manage to get through the winter.
So if people have actually planted chard plants like you have, and you just leave them over winter, you don't do anything,
No.
you don't cover them, protect them.
No, I've never protected them, although I have seen people dig them up, put them in a pot and move them into a greenhouse or polytunnel just to give them a little bit more protection. But normally I think what you should be able to do with them is leave them in the ground, and then they'll restart again in the new year. So when it starts to get cooler and the weather starts to really change, they will slow down and they will stop, but they will keep going and restart again in new year.
That chard looks lovely over there,
does.
and I'm amazed that it's. I mean, we're the first week of November, and it's still sprouting like it's like summer.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Actually, we were saying this week, we've had better days these last couple of days and this week moving forward than we had the whole of summer. We've had some lovely days.
October's been the summer, in reality, the spring summer we didn't have.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. It's just not been hot enough for me.
No.
Anyway, there you go.
I'm not
then.
moaning. Right,
So
well,
that's that then.
so
Right.
that's the end of this season, Elaine. We've done it again, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've made it to the end.
They've
Poor
not killed
Gareth.
each other,
Poor Gareth, yeah.
not buried each other in a polytunnel.
No, because there's plenty of work to do up here. That's the thing. So if people are bored, get in touch with us and we'll tell them what they can be doing at this time of year. And it is amazing, Gareth, that this week we have been up to another plot that is probably less than 5 miles away, and it is completely different to this one. It is dry, the soil is different, it looks fantastic, the dahlias are in full bloom, and they've still got peas, etc. growing. So it just goes to show you the difference a few miles can make.
Yeah.
It does. So thank you to everybody who's got in touch this year. Thank you to everybody who's taken part and been on the podcast.
Yeah.
And thank you to everybody who's helped support us via Ko-fi. And we will be back in February.
We will. We'll be back.
Is that a threat?
Yeah,
promise.
Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? We'll be back. I'll be back.
Oh, it was you making it.
No, he's not here. He's not been on. He cost us too much.
You
No.
need to lie down, Julia.
I need a break. I need a winter break. But
Break, isn't that a chocolate biscuit? Shoot, talking of which, might as well.
well,
go
yeah,
and
you
get
have
one.
restocked the biscuit barrel, haven't you? That's very kind of you.
Oh, we've got a
yeah.
couple of months to go now.
Yeah.
haven't we?
Yeah, it'd be nice if people got in contact with us and told us if they're starting afresh on a new allotment adventure or.
Yeah. We'll just sit and listen, isn't it nice? I
Beautiful.
think we'll just go and look at the plot for a bit.
The Plotcast podcast with the Potty Plotters is an Amberland Media production.